Hey all, welcome back to WGAB the GabCast. The careful viewer will note that this is not our high-tech production studio. That is because our high-tech production studio, also known as the north wall of our office with a cheap piece of canvas taped up, is in Zone A for evacuations. And we are not there. We are instead at our weather
undisclosed
office
location.
No, it's okay. Everybody knows where I live. We're at my house in Zone D, which is not an evac zone, and we are weathering out the storm here with hurricane windows, blockhouse. Really hope the roof holds. And it's been a bitch of a few weeks. Like, we didn't do a podcast last week because we were just wiped out. We did 40 Helene updates, and now we've got Milton. Sorry, I'm Kathy. You know me.
Patrick,
you know him. If this is your first time watching, this is WGAB the GabCast, a production of the Gabber newspaper. I am the owner and co-owner and publisher and editor, and Pat is our news and politics dude, also hurricane reporter. You can add that to your resume now.
Yeah, it's been, I've learned a lot about hurricanes.
You did. Tell us about eyewall replacement. Okay, I'm kidding. Can we talk about weather terrorism?
Yes, we can.
I want to talk about weather terrorism. I moved to Gulfport 20 some odd years ago, and I was here when Hurricane Charlie was supposed to hit us, and it turned at the last minute. We were fortunate, but the news accounts up until that point were so dramatically over the top that was when I just shut off the news. So I started my career in radio. And the radio station I worked with had something called a standing insertion order, meaning that they would have different advertisers who, in their contract, said, once you have a named storm, you can run all these commercials and bill us extra. And what I figured out working in that environment is there are some companies that are really invested in, now I'm not saying the advertisers are bad. I get it. They have a product. It's the time of year where they sell it. Hurricane Milton brought to you by Home Depot and Bay News 9. But what happens then is all the television stations want that ad revenue. So they want the best viewers, right? They want not the best viewers. They want our viewers are the best. Nobody else has good viewers. They want the most viewers because if they have the highest ratings, those companies will create those ads for that station. And that becomes a problem because to get you to keep tuning in, they have to do something sexy and special and spaghetti models and an idiot in suspenders who thinks he knows everything and doesn't know anything more than the National Hurricane Center. And the byproduct of doing this and creating all this drama around storms and making you think that something is just around the corner after this commercial break. We'll be right back with breaking developments. That has the effect of what I call weather terrorism. People get so scared. It kills businesses that are at all on the beaches. Not that that matters right now, but like people won't go on vacation. People won't go out. And the drama seems to feel the same whether it is a tropical depression or a Cat 5 hurricane. Have you noticed that? It's always bad all the time.
Anytime there's a storm, it's just like run, hide, evacuate, you're going to die.
Right, yeah. So that said, I do think there is something, and we at the Gabber believe there's something to practical guidance. So you will never see us on our website predicting anything. What we say is what? Sandbags, evacuations.
Comfort centers,
This is what you need to know to get through the storm. And we're very clear on that. And I think, makes us sound like I'm bragging, but I think we're doing a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, I mean, before I started working here doing hurricane stuff, I would focus on like the weather app on my phone to see what's going on. And now I just check NHC every 3 hours and just see what's up.
Right. They have the best equipment. National Hurricane Center, hurricanes.gov. That's where we tell everybody to go. Check with your local city hall. Although there is one city hall that is, can we say tits on a bull on a podcast? No. Cameron's shaking no. We're going to need to scratch that. There is a city hall that is fairly useless when it comes to this because we're hearing from residents, hey, do you know what's going on? And we don't know because we can't reach anybody either.
Mm-hmm.
So long as the governments are cooperating, City of Gulfport is absolutely the best at this with us. City of Treasure Island, a close second. St. Pete Beach is probably number 3, and there are some other cities we have not heard from in 10
Yeah.
or 12 days. So that's a little disturbing. But that's what you need. Like it's
And I know the city of Gulfport, they have their call center, and you can call, I think the number is 893
1000
1000.
727-893-1000.
And you can talk to, the mayor is sitting there with a phone ready to pick
Well,
up.
not all the time.
Not all the time.
They
but
let him
you
out
can,
to pee.
You can call and speak to council members, the mayor.
The CERT team.
Yeah.
The city manager's there. Everybody's pitching in. So like if and they get calls, things that the television news doesn't put, like, hey, is my trash going to get picked up? Because no one wants to leave a trash can out in a storm.
Yeah.
But also no one wants stinky trash if it can be picked up. And that just doesn't get covered. And it sounds really silly if you're outside our readership area or if you're outside a hurricane area watching this, although I'm not sure why you would be. But we welcome the viewers. It's really important stuff like that. And that's what people need to know. And hurricanes.gov, they are incredibly thorough. And they have, I love the idea, I forget what they call them, desponders. They're the basically disposable storm pods that they drop into the storm. I'll find the name of it. They're really cool that they do.
Yeah.
They have a lot of really good forecasting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't say it on the podcast, but I said it when I walked in here, was that I've just learned a lot about hurricanes, and you made the joke about eye wall reconstruction or whatever.
Replacement.
But it's like, I wouldn't have known a lot of this stuff about how a hurricane works and the kind of nuances of figuring out the wind speed and forecasting a hurricane without the NHC, because they don't tell you about it on the news. They just show you a projection and where it's going to hit and how bad it's going to be. But they never tell you how it's being found out, who is doing it, or any of that kind of stuff.
And that is actually the number one rule of news. Tell us how you know what you know. Don't just make these broad statements. And the word I was trying to think of is called the dropsonde. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's considered an expendable weather reconnaissance device. And it is designed to be dropped from an airplane over water to measure storm conditions as it plummets to the surface. It has a GPS receiver. It has a barometer in it. Has a thermometer and humidity sensor. So it gives us all this great data. And that's like a really important thing. The NHC is based in Florida. And the National Hurricane Center is based in Florida. Didn't used to be. Used to be based in Washington, D.C. This is a fun story. So Florida, we talk a lot about hurricanes. Galveston, Texas had some pretty horrible hurricanes before modern weather prediction. We're talking early 20th century. And they had a hurricane, and then they got a bulletin. This is well before the days of the internet. And they got this bulletin from the National Weather Service, which is out of D.C., and that there was a storm coming. And they were waiting to get more update, and the forecaster left because they were only issuing updates, I think, twice a day at that time. And I guess the mayor of Galveston, I think it was, called the National Weather Service in Washington. And they said, well, he's out on the golf course, but we'll have him we'll get back to you soon. Which was not true. It was true, but it was not wrong, but it was not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not what you need. And after a couple of really severe storms, the federal government realized this needs to be in Florida. This is where a lot of the hurricanes hit. And now we get hourly or 3-hour updates. They will break in if something changes. Like when they upgraded Milton to a 5, I think they gave
just dropped an update immediately.
Yeah, as soon as they know. And they've got this fantastic equipment. We've come a long way.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been very easy to learn as well, because when you pull it up, it's all in like all caps typewriter script and a bunch of numbers and stuff. But once you figure it out, you can look at the cones, you can look at where it's going to be, like landfall, wind speed, storm surge potential. Everything is right there on your phone, on your laptop, whatever you have that you need to look at. It's great.
It is.
It's very very helpful and very fast.
I always say the National Weather Service forecasters, and the NHC forecasters, they remind me of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, because they know what they know, and they know it exceptionally well, and they just give you the facts, that they don't have any emotion attached to it. Sometimes. I mean, they called Milton explosive, I think, in one of the
Yeah,
updates. But
it's like magnificent growth or something. It was like,
I kind of want to like go to a dinner party with all the forecasters because I think it would be incredibly amazing just to like sit around and talk weather with them all
yeah.
the time and be like, does it drive you crazy when Cantori shows up places? And stuff like that. But they're really good at it. They're experts. They go up in these aircraft reconnaissance. I can't
I
imagine.
know that they work with the Air Force team of storm hunters as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool the things that they're able to do to provide very, I mean, depending on who you talk to, very unbiased and straight up facts.
It's facts. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot say the barometric. If you have a barometer. This is how many millibars. That's not subjective.
Yeah.
It's not an opinion. It's not a we
You
think.
can measure wind speed, you can measure rainfall. It's all measurable. It's all
It's
you can
all
see it.
quantifiable. And I even like when they have the forecast discussions, which I think I'm one of maybe a handful of people who click on those a lot. They will say, well, this model says the storm might do this, but this model says this, and this model says this, so maybe it'll do this. That's like as close as
Yeah.
they get to forecasting, and I appreciate
You
that
can read those in
because
Spanish too.
Yes,
they're in Spanish on the website.
well, so
which is
much
really
of the
cool.
area that's
Yeah,
impacted.
exactly.
So the National Hurricane Center is not just for the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is definitely super important to Mexico, the Caribbean, the Bahamas, all these other countries, and we are. I think it's something we should be really proud of as
Yeah.
a country. Although I don't love that we have a hurricane coming at us right now. That part we haven't talked about that so much, have we?
No, it sucks, especially following the past one.
See, that's opinion. That's the
yeah.
difference.
It's not an unpopular opinion. This sucks.
And not a lot of people thinking it's great. Like it's what is I follow a guy on Threads called OMG at Swix. He's in Orlando and he's like, "Oh, this is a hurricane.
Yeah. You always say, "I wish we lived in precedented times."
Yeah.
For once, and
Yeah, I'm
it's-
tired of things being
I keep seeing
unprecedented.
people like, "Oh, the top 10 strongest hurricanes of all time," and it's like Milton at like 6, and everything else from like the 1800s.
Yeah, well, no, there's one from 1935.
Yeah, it's just like this is
And
the
it
strongest
hasn't even
since.
made landfall yet.
Well,
but
it did in Mexico.
did it?
I believe it hit in
It
Mexico.
started
as a
in
Cat
Mexico.
5.
Really?
I think
Where have I been?
On the Yucatan Peninsula. I believe it did make landfall right on the peninsula. So
To be fair, the Yucatan is not in our coverage area.
it's not, but
So
it's a beautiful area.
What was? I know. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
So Milton, it is Tuesday, 3:30, October. What are we? 8th. We got the paper done Monday. Paper is actually in my driveway in a rental van, waiting for it to be safe to deliver because so much of our distribution area for the physical paper is in a Zone A and Zone B and Zone C. We don't know what to expect, but we know it's going to be a storm. We know there's, even if it turns, we're still going to get storms.
Yeah,
We're going
I
to get
mean,
wind and rain, but
Right.
we've got a good, 24 hours? Is that what the
at
earliest
least-
arrival time is
I
right
believe
now?
At least I know that the most recent projection has the storm on a track to go kind of down towards Bradenton.
That's not very
Sarasota,
far
but
from us, though.
Yeah, it's not very far. We're still going to get a pretty big storm. The storm is small compared to a lot of other storms, but it's really, really powerful for being such a small storm.
It is, it is. The latest guidance from NHC has it right off the coast of Sarasota well, not right off the coast. It has it, I don't know what latitude that is, but 7 p.m. Wednesday, but by 7 a.m. Thursday, they're thinking it'll be in Orlando.
Yeah.
But by the time it gets to Orlando, it's forecast to only be a hurricane and not a major hurricane.
Yeah, down to
So-
a Cat 1 or something.
Yeah. So we're all tired. We have been kind of on adrenaline and a coffee for 12 days now? 13, 14 days since before Helene?
It's been 2 weeks because it really started Tuesday before Helene, which was 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, pretty much 2 weeks.
So we're doing a podcast. We'll be here. Please keep tuned to thegabber.com for updates. We have text updates if you want them. And we're all hopefully safe at our house. Team Gabber.
Mm-hmm.
Go Team,
Team
Gabber.
Gabber.
You know what I'm going to give you? I'll give you a high five on camera. Look at that. Anything to add, or should we let these nice people get back to freezing water in their refrigerator and
Stay
stuff?
safe, yeah.
Stay safe. Put some cups of water in your fridge. Keep it cold. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks for watching WGAB the GabCast, and we'll see you next time.
Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.